I solemnly swear that I'm up to no good. Welcome back to WaterparkRanger's Let's Play Prisoner of Azkaban. In the last episode, in a surprising turn of events, Malfoy used Polyjuice Potion to trick Harry into wandering down into a dank section of the Slytherin dungeons, where there's actually a dungeon in the gameplay sense of the word. We're gonna have to charge through some new enemies here. And I don't think we have the Folio Bruti page for them, actually, so we won't call them by their name until we get that page. That's just kind of a thing that we're gonna do. So, these enemies, they're like the standard grunts or goblins that you might expect in a game, but although Pixies already kind of filled that role, these do that in full force by being much more annoying. These are some of the enemies that I hate more than Pixies as well. They're just absolutely obnoxious because they run up to you, they hit you, they have that gas attack that stuns you. They're really trollish, like, just the way they act. Like, where are they throwing that stuff from? They just bend over and just moon you. They're obnoxious enemies. I really hate them. The main strategy I'd recommend for them is hitting them with Flipendo. Dark Forces is very useful for getting rid of them because it just saws through their HP much more quickly, so you don't have to deal with them longer than you should. And what you really should do is take advantage of the fact that you can switch between your party members, because it really helps when you're fighting them in like a hallway and you want to have one person run ahead and start the charge, and then switch to the other and back them up from behind, and let the AI of the first character just take over from the front of the battle. They're just really obnoxious because when they hit you, they tend to knock you over and stun you, and not being able to control your character while they run around and just jabber at you is incredibly irritating, so those are some enemies that I hate more than Pixies. Them and the Hinky Punks. There's still two more that we haven't really fought quite yet that I think are definitely worse than Pixies. Now here we have an owl treat and an owl pedestal right next to each other. They didn't even try to space them out in this game to make it strategic at all. They're just literally right next to each other. Like, what's the point of the owl treat if it's just that simple to call Hedwig? And over here is the treasure chest with, I'm pretty sure, the last vampire card. The fourth of the 5 vampire cards, Sir Herbert Varney, and as you guessed it, it also means we get the 5th vampire card, Sir Vlad Drakul. Obviously the guy who became Count Dracula in the Bram Stoker stories. I think this is the second time we've had to call Hedwig, and unless I'm mistaken, this is actually the last time we call Hedwig in the game. A little sad. But then again, you never really did call Hedwig too much in the Chamber of Secrets game. I'm trying to remember all the places you did. You did the first time in Borgin and Burke's, again in the Forbidden Forest, but that one is like the most optional of them all because you don't even get an owl treat to feed to Hedwig. She just kind of shows up, and then if you called her earlier, and she ended up on the pedestal, then she'll help you against the Whomping Willow. And then the final time you get to call Hedwig is in the restricted section with that ladder, I'm pretty sure. So this game still somehow manages to have less Hedwig appearances than Chamber of Secrets, which is rather sad. But then again, Hedwig's majestic flight doesn't do much for me, because she kind of just bumps into everything and it's not majestic, like, at all. Whenever she flies up, I just wait for a ladder to drop down afterwards.
Shh! I think someone's coming. Hermione?
What on earth did you come down here for, Harry? You should still be in the hospital wing.
Long story. And one that involves Malfoy and Polyjuice Potion.
Well, let's hurry up and get out of here.
Right you are, Hermione. So this is probably going to be the first time we've been able to open one of these gates, because we've never really had the 3 characters together like this. There was a gate like this in the Muggle Studies dungeon, but unfortunately Hermione wasn't with us because she was studying. In other words, the dungeon design team got lazy and decided not to give Hermione anything to do in that dungeon and just left her out. Now, they told us to be careful, but unfortunately, I forget that these enemies are, like, really powerful for some odd reason, and if they so much as touch your wand, you pretty much die. So yeah, these are random little fireballs that you can defeat by holding Glacius on them to bring them down, but don't let them, like, so much as touch you, because they just melt your HP meter away directly, apparently. They attack it. They don't even attack you. They just, like, go for your HP meter, just like in Problem Sleuth in the final battle. Obscure Problem Sleuth reference for the win. Read Problem Sleuth, man. It's pretty funny. Or don't. I don't care. Over here we got some beans. I was hoping to get some Wiggenweld potions from those things, because when I played this, and was testing it out on a test run, it gave me Wigginoa potions like on every one of these things, so Hermione was actually getting pretty well stocked with potions. Unfortunately, these enemies just keep on coming. They're throwing more of their gas bombs at us. Very unpleasant. So the deal is you have to freeze these fountains, the water that's coming out of them, and step up on them, which I think is pretty clever and cool. I like that idea. But before you do that, just take out those enemies from a distance by targeting them and shooting them with Flipendo before you climb up. Otherwise, they're going to be causing problems for you. I'm going to try and fight these ones at close combat range just to... Yeah, this is what happens. You get stunned with that annoying gas attack, and it's just really obnoxious. Because I'm pretty good at strafing properly, and I've got Dark Forces Flipendo, this is not as big of a deal as it could be. Nope, we brought them down without, I think, even taking damage, which is really quite good. The damage we took was because we had a slight brush with a fire from earlier, like a molecule from our robes must have touched it, and that sawed away a portion of our life meter. And now we've got a scene where, of course, the obligatory bridge breaking as someone runs across it scene. Exceptionally stupid face from Hermione right there. Wow, good job, Granger, yeah. I don't even know whether or not Ron's face when he survived the Glacius dungeon boss was dumber than that face or not. I'm gonna have to make a comparison. All I can say is that I'm pretty thankful that we haven't seen Harry make a face like that quite yet. Not sure if he will. If he does, though, I'm probably gonna point it out. If I don't, feel free to point it out, the stupid Harry face in the comment section below. I rather like the design of this dungeon. It's kind of neat. Also, you want to be really careful not to fall off the cliffs here, obviously. Otherwise, who knows where it'll respawn you to. The respawn points are always awkward in this game. So to avoid confusion, I always just try and follow the rule of thumb, which is don't die in the first place, which is easy enough to do for the most part. I don't think I actually died once on my practice run of this game. I used to, back when I played this when I was younger. Like, I never even beat this game due to a certain part that's going to be in a couple episodes. Not sure exactly when we get to it, but when we do, I'll be sure to tell you what part it was. It was one of the most traumatizing parts of a game I had to play, and I could not beat it when I was a kid. But, for now, we're just dealing with simple block-pushing mechanics. Nothing even remotely traumatic about that. No, sir. So just climb over that, and push it back. Simple. We've escaped. Reparo is a pretty cool spell, as you can tell. It's pretty self-explanatory. It just repairs things that are broken. Usually they're made of wood, sometimes they're not. So if you see something that needs fixing, try casting Reparo on it to see if that works. If it doesn't, then there's probably something you're missing. Or maybe you need to do something else before you can use Reparo. The situation always varies. Now here I'm trying to find a shortcut to get Hermione to jump down. It goes horribly wrong. She plummets to her death. Hermione is just the character that dies a lot in this game. Oh my god, they killed Hermione! You bastards! There we go. Yeah, I just wanted her to jump down backwards off of something, because otherwise she feels the need to cling to every single surface that she wants to jump down, so I try to get her to just jump off immediately to save time. I ended up having to... I cut this out of the LP because it would have just been annoying to watch again, but I ended up having to do that whole block pushing thing again when I died, like back there. I had to do that, and it's not like that long, but it was obnoxious. I'm like... Really, dog? We just fixed the bridge and everything. It's completely unnecessary. Anyway, we finally managed to get Harry and Ron to follow us and regroup. And the triumvirate is complete once more. Also, there seems to be some kind of random, like, windows to the left. If you rewind the video by a couple seconds, there's some random, like, windows in this dungeon, like someone lives down here. They almost looked a little bit Jak and Daxter for a second, but I'm sure I was just looking at it wrong. There's no way this game resembles Jak and Daxter. So, they're cleared off with Glacius. What I'm going to do is have Hermione get Flipendo equipped once again, because she's going to have to do some fighting, and neither of her spells are good for combat, and that's just the unfortunate truth of the matter. Harry, too, I wanted to be sure he had Flipendo, because, yes, we're face-to-face with Hinky Punks yet again. For the second time. Hate these things. There we go, we actually managed to kill that one incredibly quickly. I'm hoping that this great luck with Hinky Punks, like, holds up, because they are obnoxious. I'd say they're probably the third worst enemy. They're definitely worse than those enemies that we started encountering in this dungeon that, like, run up to you. We're going to find out what they're called pretty soon, also. I don't think they're going to stay a mystery any longer. Because in this treasure chest is a page in the Folio Bruti. And this page in the Folio Bruti details a monster called the Red Cap. The Red Cap is the monster we encountered in this dungeon that appears to be like a weird, like, zombie goblin thing. They appear, apparently, in places where blood has been spilled, so just keep that in mind. Apparently, there's been, like, some kind of bloody battle down in this dungeon long ago. Maybe the Bloody Baron was involved, who knows? I mean, he's the only thing that I can think of with the word bloody going on in the Harry Potter series at Hogwarts. And we encountered the standard grunt version of the Red Cap. We're going to find the next level up here that holds a shield, which reflects your Flipendo spells. So we're shooting a lot of Flipendo, and it just bounced them all back. Now, Hermione's trying to fight it and not having much luck, so I'm going to switch to another character and try to back her up. Lo and behold, Hermione manages to defeat it on her own with her supercomputer AI. I'm going to guess that was just sheer dumb luck, as Professor McGonagall would say. But either way, we defeated the last enemy standing between us and the way out of the dungeon. Well, that's not entirely true. We have one more enemy here, but he's not in the Folio Bruti. He's a prefect. And so we can't kill him, as sad as that is. Luckily, we have Hermione to use the Reparo on this crate and have Harry climb up to grab these potions. I recommend very highly that you have Harry be the one who grabs these potions. There's going to be a challenge that Harry is going to have to face solo later on, and it's great to have as much Wig and Road potion as possible. Especially if you're, like, not good at this game. I've gotten good at Prisoner of Azkaban, I have to say. Leaps and bounds better than the first time I played it when I was a kid, and I got past the point that was giving me so much trouble. Actually, on my first try, without having to use maybe even, like, one Wig and Weld. But I would still recommend you collecting it, because that portion, when it comes up, hits hard if you're not prepared for, like, how difficult it can be. And that does it for, I'm not really sure what to call that dungeon. This chapter is called Black Deeds, so Black Deeds dungeon is not too bad of an idea for it. By now, I've actually titled one of the previous episodes Black Deeds. I always liked that saying, because it sounds like something really piratey.
Thanks, Hermione. You really saved us.
Oh, I just remembered. We still haven't got any Graphorn Horn for Snape's potions class tomorrow.
Hermione? Where did you... Draco. He dropped it.
Ron, you're amazing. There's more than enough for everyone here.
Let's all turn in. I'm worn out and I really could do with a good sleep.
Oh, Ron, getting tired on us yet again. This is a really fun one. Harry Potter game series drinking game. Well, game within a game, I guess. Drinking mini-game. Take a shot every time Ron says he needs to go to sleep, or that he's tired, or that he thinks that we should turn in. Well, I really don't recommend you do that, because chances are you'll be having to turn in before too soon. Only you won't be waking up. Now, over here we have Reparo on this jar. If you fix it, the random lock on this chest just falls off, and then you can collect what's inside. So, no, Alohomora is not how you get locks off chests anymore. You open locked chest by fixing an unrelated jar that just happens to be nearby with Reparo. Yeah. Logic, thy name is Wizard. Well, most of them haven't gotten out of Logic, so I guess it's fair. I always missed the logic puzzle from Sorcerer's Stone that got taken out of the movie. That potions puzzle. It was in the PC game, though, but unfortunately it was a huge pile of shit. Speaking of shit, in this toilet right over here, just use Reparo to fix it, and you get a wizard card. The card we collected from that Reparo jar is Goliath, the third out of the 5 giant cards. And what we just got out of the toilet was the 4th Goblin card, Urg the Unclean, also meaning that we got the 5th Goblin card, Gringott. Now, unfortunately, Fred has blocked our friends, and they're trapped in that stall due to him, but Ron is seeming to have a very difficult time figuring out how to get back to Harry. I'm trying to help him along with Flipendo, but it doesn't seem to be doing him any good. Poor Ron! His running's just becoming more and more frantic. It's like running, but he's trying to stay calm. It's really kind of cute. In a great game glitchy way. It's really entertaining how many glitches have just popped up in this LP so far. And now Ron's finally free, so with that, this is the end of the day. Mischief managed.